Now, most of us know Richard Pryor, the movie star. A slightly older generation of fans probably hid their Richard Pryor records from their parents. And you have to go really far back to remember the Richard Pryor show on television back in the early 70s. Paul Mooney appeared on that show, short-lived as it was, and Paul and Richard were writing partners and friends. Paul Mooney joins me now from New York. Paul, what an amazing talent Richard Pryor was, and what a pleasure he must have been to work with.
Yeah, it was.
Of your fondest memories?
And well, some of my fond memories is that you got it wrong. I worked with Richard for 32 years. I
What did we
was
get
with
wrong?
Rich. I'm just saying, you said the early 70s, but it was way before that we met. And everyone keeps saying, that he's passed. We all have to leave. We all have to kick the bucket, but Richard's still here. Love doesn't die.
Yeah.
Love is forever. And he was loved, and so he'll be here forever. And his material is here on albums and the film, and he'll be greatly, greatly missed because people loved him. I mean, he finally did what expression called the crossover that came about it, but
Right.
at first it was just black, and black people would walk through fire for Richard, and it's just that we just lost a very talented and a very loving and giving man. And when we worked on the TV show, Richard would insist that we had black technicians, we had black directors, and he would insist on it, and black cameramen, and he opened that door, his show. It's a mothership to In Living Color. It's an apple of the tree.
Paul, is
Dave
it true?
Chappelle.
Is it true though? The pressure was on Richard Pryor. I mean, here the network was taking
At NBC?
here. Yeah, the pressure was on. Was it
No,
true?
no,
Let me ask you
no.
this: was it true at a meeting with the writers that he broke down and started to cry and say, "I just can't do this"? And it was the writers who said, "Yes, you can."
No, that's not true. Richard was on drugs. Richard couldn't take the pressure of the drugs and of the show. That's why he finally left. It was him. It wasn't NBC. NBC, all those people that wear suits and are big shots and have jobs, they suddenly had a job. They suddenly had power. They suddenly had conversations with each other. They loved every second of that show. If it was up to the producers and the execs, the show would still be there. It was Richard. He just couldn't take the grind. He couldn't take it.
They gave him a 10-week contract, but he did 4 consecutive shows. What happened?
Well, that's because he couldn't take the grind. The grind was too much for him. And so NBC loved it. They loved every second of it. It was on the edge. People would sit around and wait for that show.
Yeah.
It was like church.
Paul, what was the craziest thing he did?
On the show?
Sure.
Well, I remember that he wouldn't come out. One day he wouldn't come out. And I gave the audience, I got them all drunk. And that's a no-no at the studio. There's a big law about that. Because if they all leave the studio and have an accident, the studio can get sued. But I didn't know that. I gave them all booze to keep them there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And how long did they have to wait?
What? Oh, about 3 hours.
Oh, my
overtime.
goodness.
Oh, no, it was crazy. That's the craziest thing he ever did. But it was, but that's the craziest thing I did. That we did together.
Two of alike.
Yeah, and it was just an interesting show. It was creative. And,
yeah, an interesting
I mean, there were white writers, black writers, and first of all, we had an Indian comedian, we had an Asian comedian, we had a gay comedian. We had the first everything on NBC. Okay.
You broke ground, Paul Mooney.
We broke all the barriers. We
Listen,
did, and it was fun.
I want you to stick around because we're going to ask our viewers, what their favorite Richard Pryor memory was. Okay, that's going to be our last call question tonight. What is your favorite Richard Pryor moment? Our thanks to Paul Mooney for sharing many of his memories. Give us a call at 1-800-807-2620.